digital marketing for accountants. So to give you a little bit of context about who we are, my name's John. I'm the founder here at 5x5. We are Australia's highest rated web design agency, and we are known for building great looking, high performing digital solutions that ultimately generate more leads and inquiries. So a little bit about me. I'm a founder, 20 years, got a little bit of gray hair poking through, but still do this with a big smile on my face. I'm physically standing here at Burleigh Heads, sunny Gold Coast, and lead a team of almost 50 people. We're an award-winning SEO agency that just happens to build amazing websites. And our claim to fame is we can double a client's leads and inquiries in under 6 months and deliver a site they are super proud of. So when we start working with clients, we ask the question, why do you need a website? When we ask this question, typically we get a mix of those sort of responses. But here's the thing, you don't actually need a website, you need the outcomes or the results that that website generates. And if we look at this through the lens of accountants, what are the outcomes that you want? You want to establish yourself as an expert and authority in your chosen space, field, specialty, corner of the world. Maybe you want to generate new leads and inquiries. So use it as a top of funnel thing to flush out new clients to work with. And then in an ideal world, those people are raising their hand, they're getting in touch. So it's all well and good to drive traffic to your website. You need to convert that traffic as well. So that's where we need conversions. One of the things we have noticed, and obviously in this post-COVID world, accountants are being heavily leaned on. I know that my relationship with my accountant is as rich or is as strong as ever, right? Because you're in demand, people need your help. And as such, a lot of the businesses or accounting businesses that we work with, they've grown exponentially. So one of their biggest challenges is in and around attracting quality talent. So how do you attract quality talent? Like, you've got to have a presence. You've got to be an industry leader. You've got to be an employer of choice for accountants to attract that talent. And here's the problem. So a website alone, it's not going to fix it. And really, this is about a bit of a mindset shift where it's like, okay, let's take the conversation away from a website. Let's actually look at all the other elements that result in digital marketing success, which is where this came about. So for many, many years, we were just a website design and development firm, okay? We had this light bulb moment where it's like, well, it's not actually about the website. We're doing all this other stuff that sort of contributes to the success of the website. And without it, the website alone, it's not actually that successful. So this is where we really sort of systemize the key ingredients. We use the hamburger analogy, a big, fat, juicy hamburger. And wrapped in that, the foundation is a customized web strategy. So this is where we extract your business magic. It is defined. We figure out, how are you unique in the market? We look at the competitive space geographically, or from a service-based perspective, or the sort of clients that you're working with, and get really, really clear and granular in and around what an amazing strategy actually looks like. Content is a big part of this. And not only from a user experience perspective, but making sure we keep those search engines, i.e. the Google gods, happy. So that's where there's a very big focus in and around content. And the direct result of amazing content is to be able to drive very targeted traffic off the back of search engine optimization. So we're going to dig into this today. We're going to show you the number one lever that all accountants out there can pull in terms of driving very targeted traffic to your website, getting people to raise their hand, pick up the phone, get in touch. We need to make sure that visuals are there, because it's all well and good to drive this traffic, but you need to have these nice visuals that are actually going to encourage people to want to partner with you for your services. We've got logo and branding, That is the foundation from a visual perspective. Does your logo look like it's from the 1980s, or is it progressive? Is it modern? We make sure that all those sort of foundations are ticked off on. And this is all wrapped in an amazing website, one that looks great on desktop, mobile, all that sort of stuff, is quick to load. And then there's a plan in and around hosting and support. So a roadmap for success, just generally from a technical perspective. So they're the key ingredients at a very sort of high level. And this is a bit of a paradigm shift. So it's not about my website sucks. I need to go out and I need to redesign it, because if you're in that sort of philosophy or that approach, you're going to get, substandard or poor results where you can get a website designer to design and build your website. They're going to deliver that. They're going to wash their hands. They're going to move on to the next project. Whereas, to cast analogies from an accounting perspective, you want a deep, rich relationship, one where an accountant has an intimate understanding of your business, how you put dollars in your bank account, what is the future plans for growth, what are the challenges that you're dealing with, all this sort of stuff. So it's really in and around a formula or a methodology where the digital marketing assets are delivered out there in the world. There's a ramp up period, and this is when you get to savor the juicy fruits of all that hard work. And that's usually where, around a 12-month mindset, is where momentum is really going to kick in from a digital perspective. And one of the best levers that we've found in 20 years of doing this is through SEO. So obviously, being accountants, you all understand the beauty of compounding, and SEO is a perfect example of that, in the fact that it can snowball, it can grow, and it can become exponential. This is about building an evergreen pipeline for counting work by growing your organic leads and inquiries through search engine optimization. I'm going to show you how we do this. So here's one of our poster child. This is a good mate of mine. His name is Ben Walker. He's based up in Brisbane. He is not your traditional accountant. And he's done an exceptional job in terms of just generally packaging up his products, his services, building an awesome team. In the last 3 years, he's gone from a team of maybe 10 to 15 up to a team of 50. Okay. They work with clients all around Australia, but really, because they're geographically based in Brisbane, that's their major sort of focus. And where they've had tremendous success and where the rubbers really hit the road is through search engine optimization. So how we approached this for Ben was, we got really clear on what people are typing into Google to actually find his products and services. Off the back of that, we were able to identify the low-hanging fruit, and then we were able to structure and build the website in a very strategic manner, knowing exactly where to focus our energies. So we utilize this amazing tool. It is called SEMrush. I'm going to show you an example as to how we go about doing that process. So I'm here in SEMrush, and what I can do is go and start hunting around for keywords that people are actually typing into Google to find products and services related to accounting. So you can see here, it gives us an indication of volume. This is a monthly search volume. And you can see here, the number one search phrase just in this list here is for accountants Brisbane. 1,000 people are searching on that every single month. We then look at, say, accountants Gold Coast, 720. A variation on that, accountant singular Brisbane, 590. Accountant Gold Coast, 590. Tax accountant Brisbane, 480. Sunshine Coast, 390. You can see how this evolves. If we then get down to maybe some more specific task-related stuff, SMSF accountants Brisbane, 90 search results every single month. So using this intel and using this data, we can see, well, what is the available opportunity? What is the market out there for these specific keywords? So then, off the back of that, we can formulate a bit of a strategy. So what we want to do, we want to build a strong structure. So you can't build a strong structure on a weak foundation. That would be akin to trying to roll out a tax strategy for one of your clients, but they've got the wrong company structure. They're trading as a sole trader. They're not set up to distribute money or not in a tax effective way, right? It's a very sort of similar comparison to that. So then we utilize that data, and what we can then do is by using that keyword research, we can formulate, well, what is the actual sitemap? What is the structure? What is the architecture of the website need to look like so that we can set this up for success? So this is a generic sort of example of an accounting firm, and this is a pretty common cross-section in terms of the type of service groupings that they may do. So business advisory, accounting and tax, potentially bookkeeping and payroll. And then you'll see, say, under business advisory, well, let's look at accounting and tax, using that SMSF example. So we had SMSF accountant Brisbane, and assuming this potential client is there in Brisbane, this page here is where we would want to drive that specific search phrase, SMSF accountant Brisbane, to. Okay, so that is the general principle in and around one page, one topic, a whole bunch of specific information around a product, a service, potentially a specific industry that you focus in, whether it's construction, whether it's property, whether it's tourism. Maybe you're an accountant, specializes in, has very specific industry expertise. Maybe it's in and around platforms that you specialize in, whether it's through Xero or Mile. And then the other thing that could be looked at is different locations. So this is where you can cast your net a lot wider and look at the different locations. So potentially you have coverage up at the Sunshine Coast, whether it's Ipswich, Gold Coast, Brisbane, you name it. If you have specific pages in and around content that relates to, say, the geographical search phrase, we can then go and target specific keywords for that. So that's the sitemap. Let me go back to my slides here. As I said, one page, one topic. Separate each topic in as much detail as possible. Each page should have 1 or 2 focus keywords max. We need to make it super easy for the bots, as well as the user, because that's how the user experience is really helpful as well. People come to you for a specific problem that they need solved. And then we need to make sure all the technical requirements are taken care of. So without getting too techie, H1, H2, H3, we need to make sure there's enough content on these respective pages. At a minimum, 500 words of content. We got your title tag, your meta description, frequently asked questions, unique images and videos where necessary, and calls to action, getting people to raise their hand and get in touch. So that's the general sort of philosophy and mindset. Let's look at the anatomy of a great page. So this is an accountant that is based here at the Gold Coast, QC Accountants. And we're going to just pull apart the anatomy on this page. So you can see here, super clean branding, call to action at the top, a very minimal navigation. Okay, so this is what a sort of hybrid navigation set up where you've got minimal items, and these items are maybe the top 3 things that someone comes to your website for. Everything else from an operational perspective is tucked away in what we call a hamburger menu, which is very fitting with our burger with a lot approach. Calls to action, i.e. what do we want someone to do? We want them to pick up the phone and have a chat. If we can get people chatting, we set ourselves up for success. Now, in this instance, we organised a full custom film shoot, and you can see here there's a little loop that sort of rotates through on the banner. we look at the user experience. People come to the site for different needs or different reasons. So in this instance, we say, how can we help you today? Maybe they're in startup mode and they need to get the basics right. Or maybe they're in a bit more of a scaling mode. They're an established business. They've been around for years. They've got the structures right. They've got the systems, processes, but now they want to ramp things up and they need help from an accountant to do so. Maybe it's just tax and compliance, but either way, by selecting one of these things, it's going to land them on different sections of the website. Same deal, book a chat. This links in through to the contact page. We've got different unique selling propositions in and around how they're different in the marketplace. So they've 80 years of combined experience. Like, that's a big number. I'm sure that's obviously, through the 5 or 10 different accountants that are there, proactively driving the business growth. We're not a reactive client. We are a proactive client. We provide a world-class experience. We aim to over-service. And we then scroll down, you see the different types of clienteles that they're working with, whether they're family businesses, whether they're an established business, whether they're in startup mode. Either way, we're ticking these subconscious boxes and people are all able to self-categorize where they sit. Different trust and feature benefits in and around 80 years of experience, 15 different services offered, over 2,000 clients. And then we get an insight into the process that they actually run through. So when you engage with this business, what is the process they're going to take you through? You reach out, they're going to do a historic review. They're going to put together a customized, tailored proposal. If that's all looking good, you'll take action. And then you probably go into more of the implementation and delivery phase. So this then relates to what I was talking about from a structuring perspective. These are more the service related things. This is the stuff that they're doing, categorized by individuals or businesses, and then the service offerings, the different sort of clients that they've worked with. And here's the thing, people buy from people. So that's critical. I touched on this as well. You're trying to attract good quality talent. Maybe these prospective team members are coming through to your site and checking you out and seeing what you're all about. So you get good context on the team. We've got some testimonials, some frequently asked questions. So you can see it's quite a long page. There's a lot of content there, but that's what's required from an SEO perspective. We've got different resources as well. So these are blog posts that go in and talk about very specific subject matters. So what do we got? AFSL financial reporting requirements, fairly specific subject matter. But this then helps Google to identify that you are an expert, you are authority, and they should send lots of traffic your way. And then more of these footer elements. So that's a bit of a cross section. That is an anatomy of a good example. And there's many different ways to be right. If we then go back to here, the number one thing is content is king. We need to make sure that there is enough content talking about your specific products and services, because this is probably the number one challenge that people have, is having enough content in there, useful, helpful content that solves people's problems. Other elements for success. I touched on this before. We have got a high quality photo shoot. So your business is a brand. Professional photography and video simulate the experience that you provide to your clients. So if you can simulate what it is like to come through the front door, to be greeted by one of your front of house team members, to sit down and have a meeting with a specialized an accountant, like these are all amazing things, because this is subconsciously what's going on with in people's brains, is like, do I want to work with this business? It builds trust with your potential customers, and maybe you've had nothing to do with this prospective client. So we've got to work hard to build that trust. And if I can give you a hot tip, it would be stay away from that cheesy stock photography. Video shoot. So this would be the next level. It's not mandatory. You may or may not be able to hear the audio in here. I'll hit a quick play. And this was the video that was shown on the homepage of the QC Accountants
If you
website.
ask any of our clients that we work closely
and you can
with
see
why
QC
QC
it's a bit of storytelling. We're all, fundamentally we're storytellers at the end of the day. And what this video is doing is just talking us through
when they come
this business owner's journey, why he jumps out of bed and does what he does every single day. That is interesting. That is helpful to a client, because when they can look you through the lens and eyeball you, then you are building trust in a very leveraged fashion. And it just happens that you got these awesome visuals on your website. So that's the video side of things. Here's another cool thing. I'm going to jump back to the Inspire Accountants website. Yeah. So we look at the anatomy here. They're using similar sort of elements. For Inspire, like the team is number one thing. So that's why they've got this team front and center. They've won a bunch of awards. They've got a heap of 5-star Google reviews. They've got all these awesome testimonials. So if I scroll down, you'll actually see that they've got this cool thing, the tax saving calculator. How much tax can they save you? So say we pick a number. What is your profit? We made a profit in this band here, and the prospective client is trading in a company structure. Maybe they've got a business partner. If we hit calculate, you'll see here in that specific financial year, the average tax saved for clients was around $20,000. And you can see there's a strong call to action to then get people to raise their hand and get in touch. So there's lots of cool little bits and pieces that allow people to sort of self-diagnose their problem, to interact with your website, to to allow them to sort of get an understanding as to how you work as an accountant in your specific space. The Inspire Accountants website, that was launched in December 2021. So call it January 2022. So really the site's been active for say 16, 17 months. And literally it was launched on a brand new domain, which means that the baseline was 0. There was no traffic going through to this website. And using these principles through keyword research, through correct structuring, through amazing content, and putting all the nice visuals and conversion elements, you can see the upward march and the traction that it's had. Almost 1,500 unique visitors off the back of Google every single month. You can see they have coverage on almost 4,000 keywords in varying rankings positions. And these are the sort of keywords that they're getting found for: tax planning and advice, dividend versus distribution, small business tax accountant, cleaner tax deductions, small business tax accountant near me. You can see when you add all these different keywords in the mix, this has fueled the explosive growth of the Inspire website. It's what's getting the phone ringing. It's what's getting new clients through day in, day out. So you're saying, all right, I love the sounds of that. Give me some of that. Or what would be the advice around, if I'm starting this journey, I've got a website that doesn't perform, what do we do? What's the next step? So really have a clear understanding as to where you sit out there in the world through competition. We've spent half an hour together understanding, well, what does an amazing world-class solution look like? But then what does the process actually look like as well to deliver this in a bit more detail? And that's where, really digging into some of these existential questions. So who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for? What does your product ecosystem look like? How do you structure your services? What is the onboarding? What is the sale and engagement process? We ran through that with QC accountants in terms of how they clearly define that. What's your business model and how you're putting dollars into a bank account? What are the average dollar sales and margins that you're making? So it's really clear that when you're partnering with a digital partner, that all these things are spoken about. The next step would be to understand, what does the competitive landscape actually look like? Who are you competing with in the local geographical area, or from a service perspective? Who are the other more specialist style accountants out there? What are they doing to succeed? auditing their digital presence and reverse engineering how they're getting their results. By doing this, you can uncover gaps and opportunities, and then it's very clear where you can sort of hone your efforts and focus on different niches that you can completely shine in. There's a component of understanding the solution. So understanding other successful strategies. We've gone through this framework today. We spoke about branding. We spoke about website architecture. We spoke about visual assets, content, SEO, and defining success. If you define what a success looks like, you can reverse engineer that. And then it's about understanding the process. So that's where I think a lot of people get unstuck, and it becomes almost inhibiting because there are horror stories out there. But by understanding, well, what does a great web design process look like? How long should it take? What's the actual input required from a business owner's perspective? I'm busy doing tax returns and working on strategy with my clients. How am I going to fit this in? How is it realistic to do this sort of stuff? How will you measure the return on investment? What does it cost? And then, most importantly, when can you expect seeing results? Because there needs to be a really clear pathway to return on investment. Dollar in, multiple dollars back. And that's what good digital marketing should do. Whether you choose to partner with an agency like ours or someone else out there, it's really important that you're auditing, is this what they're doing to grow their business? How are they sharing their magic? Are they demonstrating market leadership, authority, publishing content, hosting webinars, social media posts, LinkedIn posts, all that sort of stuff? Do they have a track record? Do they have case studies of different accounting websites that they use out there in the world and a proven pathway to delivering outcomes? Do they have a process for delivery? Is it a bit of a scattergun approach in terms of they'll get to it when they get to it, or is there a clearly defined process and they do this day in, day out? And what does their team look like? Is it a one-man show, or do they have a good cross-section of different people with different skill sets that all bring their unique magic to the world? So if any of you are interested, we host a thing called a web strategy workshop where we just happen to dig in to all those bits and pieces. We get to know you, who you are, what you're all about. This takes place on a 2-hour Zoom meeting or in person if you're geographically located Brisbane or the Gold Coast. It's fully interactive and engaging. So this is where we pop the hood on your business and figure out who you are and what you're all about. Off the back of that, that's then where we put together a really customized digital strategy that will skyrocket your online presence. Off the back of that, we then come back and we present that to you. So there's another hour catch up where it's saying, if this was me, if this was my business, this is what I would do to get results out there in the world. I also just happen to publish a book. It is called Love at First Sight. You get a copy of that. And here's the thing, if you choose to partner with us to implement that solution, we will refund the cost of that. So there is zero risk. We guarantee that by doing this, you will learn a whole bunch more around digital, the world of digital, than when you did walking you through the door. It'll be either hosted through one of our colleagues, Peter or Laal. If you have any other sort of follow-up questions, post this. More than happy to help. Otherwise, I wish you all the best in your digital journey. Thank you for making the time. It was lovely to connect with you. And we will chat again soon. We actually host these on a monthly basis. So if you are interested in more education, we will be in touch in terms of future events where we dig into specific subject matters. So yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone. We'll chat to you soon. See ya.